afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Uncle Ren's Popcorn Deep Diving Movie Review. I'm your host, Uncle Ren's, and the movie we're talking about today is Now You See Me 2. Now, the first Now You See Me movie was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. We gave it 8 kernels, and this movie, we're going to give it 8 kernels as well. Why? Because it's a sequel that can stand on its own. So before we get into it, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. You might want to turn off the video if you don't like spoilers. So, getting into this movie, it is the continuation of the maturation of the 4 Horsemen, and even though they replaced the female lead of the 4 Horsemen with another young lady, I think the first lady the young lady was pregnant, so she couldn't shoot the movie. But the other person, she meshed well with the characters. She had a little annoying type of comedy, but that annoying type of comedy that she brought to the stage, to the movie, it worked. It worked in as far as how the movie was going. And again, Mark Ruffalo really carried the movie from start to finish with his character as the FBI agent, but he was also, the leader of the 4 Horsemen. But this movie, I think that the story arc was better than the first one, merely because you got more of a backstory and understanding as to how the Mark Ruffalo character felt about what the Morgan Freeman character had done, or he believed he had done to his father. So that whole vengeance line was very apparent, came to a conclusion as far as him being in jail, but then there was still something missing, right? He was still going through. So they continue to develop that aspect of the character so that you can see his maturation as far as becoming, and I don't want to spoil you what he becomes at the end. I'm going to let that part be something you have to actually go to the movie to see. But to see that entire sequence made you stay attentive to the plot line. And then, of course, this one, the magic was better. The magic, the graphics, the ideas, the thought process on the magic, how it was used in order to outsmart the bad guys was it was done very well. I really enjoyed it. Of course, some of the magic is things that you probably know that you just can't do, but it's Hollywood, so some of the stuff is supposed to be things that you can't do, whereas then there are other parts of it that you should be able to do. I mean, for instance, being able to hypnotize somebody instantly is something that's Hollywood. Hypnotism takes a long time, or takes a process, and then there are certain things that have to be set up. So, it's those kinds of things that only if you're like a super stickler for everything that you get caught up into. But beyond that, if you're just watching the movie for pure enjoyment, it's a good movie to watch. I really enjoyed it. Like the interplay between the horsemen and how everything was utilized against each other, which brings us to the deep diving aspect of the movie review. The deep diving aspect of the movie review. In this movie, one of the things that you get to see, now remember in the first one, they said come closer and come closer, and the closer you get, the more you don't see. You believe you're seeing it, but you don't see it. There's a similar thought process within this movie where they talk about blind spots, where if you are too focused, going too far, too much into the ego, then you create blind spots for yourself. So think about it like this. If you are so caught up on getting revenge against somebody, or destroying somebody, or even just so caught up in work or anything like that, that you have everything great in front of you, but you can't see it because that ego issue is causing a blind spot, and it's right in front of you. So everything you need to see can be right in front of you, but you're missing it because you have a blind spot. Why? Because you have a ego issue. And throughout the entire movie, you see the Mark Ruffalo character, he supposedly got his revenge. But then he had lost his kind of grip on things. He got sloppy. He wasn't as focused, because after he got his revenge, he found it to be empty as far as his ego is concerned, as far as his emotions were concerned, because the true issue that he had was the loss of his father, right? So until he dealt with that, he couldn't step back and see the entire picture. And that's one of the things that you can learn from this movie, that until you resolve the root of an issue, then you can't step back and see the entire picture, because otherwise you'll just be going in circles, believing that you're solving something, believing you're moving forward, believing you're getting your revenge, or you're getting your just due, or you're getting deeper into a relationship, when all only thing you're really doing is that you're feeding the ego and the emotion, and you're allowing a blind spot to be there, so you miss out on the beauty of what's right in front of you. The bad guys in the movie personified this as well, as they were so caught up. If you remember Tressler, the character Tressler in the first movie who they robbed, he's back again, and he's there with his illegitimate son, as he called him, and they're trying to get revenge on the Horsemen and everybody, so they're getting them to go through all these things. But they are so blinded by their revenge that they miss, and they miss out on everything that's going on around them, and they're so focused that they become unfocused, and they miss the point that they're being ran into a trap. And even when they're told that they're being moved into a trap, the telling of them being moved into a trap was a trap. You understand what I'm saying? It was a progression of the actual trap. So it was a good movie in that. And you have to understand those kinds of things in your life, that if you're too focused and you're feeding the ego and you're feeding the emotion, and the emotion is making the decision and you're acting and responding based purely on emotion, that you miss out on the rational side of thinking. So that combination of the two that helps you to make better decisions and to lead a better life is going to be missing. So you start missing out on life. You start going down pathways that's not a good pathway for you. And I believe that the movie was trying to get that aspect of it across, because one of the character, Atlas, he was so frustrated with the Dylan character that he wanted to be the leader, and his desire and ego to be the leader caused him to put the team in actual more danger than they was in the beginning. But it wasn't until he realized that his ego caused him to kind of take the team in the wrong direction, kind of betray the whole idea of the I, and that caused them to be into more of a situation than they could have been. And I'm sure that in your life you can find situations, or you can think of situations where your desire to become something that you're maybe not ready for caused you to move in a direction that you weren't prepared to be in that situation, and things just didn't turn out right for you. And it's only at that moment that you can step back, and then from that point you move forward, so that you can actually move in the direction that you're designed to move in. So that was the deep diving aspect of the movie. Of course, there are other finer points we can go into, but we're going to leave those for the discussion at the bottom. So if this is on Facebook, share it. If this is on YouTube, subscribe. You have a great day. My greatness is non-negotiable, and so is yours. From Uncle Ren's Popcorn, the deep diving movie review. I'm your host, Uncle Ren's, and you can order from us online, 25 great flavors. My greatness is non-negotiable, and so is yours.